Peace, love, and light. Grace and peace to everybody. This is your young Hebrew by the name of Shamar Yehuda, aka Slim Wolf the Jew. And today we're going to double back on what I was talking about dealing with second Esdras. And today we just going to do it based off these camp followers and these bandwagons and these dick riders, based off their flawed logic. We're going to start in the book of Acts, chapter 27. Verse 1 through 2, and it says this: and when it was determined that we should sail into Italy, they delivered Paul and certain other prisoners. So this is people, all right? This is a certain amount of people going on a ship to sail, Paul and other prisoners, unto one named Julius, a centurion of Augustus's band. And entering into a ship of Adramyttium, we launched, meaning to sail by the coast of Asia, one Aristarchus, a Macedonian of Thessalonica, being with us. So as you can see, they're getting ready to sail off. They're going to Italy. All right, this is from Israel to Italy. Now we've already established they went from They went from Syria to beyond the Euphrates, which is Turkey. Right. So this is them going from Israel to Italy. All right. Here we go. We're going to skip to verse 14 to 15. These are continuous verses, fam. So don't say I'm playing semantics. Here we go. But not long after there arose against it a tempestuous wind called Euroclydon. And when the ship was caught and could not bear up into the wind, we let her drive. So keep this in mind. We were in their flawed logic now. If we had took ships, we would have been on them ships for a year and a half, right? And keep in mind, during a year and a half, we would have seen at least 6 different seasons: fall, autumn, winter, spring, summer, all of that, right? We would have came through some storms. Now, where we gonna go? We're gonna go to verse 37 through 44. Here we go. It says this: and we were all in the ship 216 souls. So this is a lot. This is a lot of people. This is a lot of people on that ship. And what happened? Let's see. And when they had eaten enough, they lightened the ship and cast out the wheat into the sea. And when it was day, they knew not the hand, but they discovered a certain creek with a shore, into the which they were minded, if it were possible, to thrust the ship. And when they had taken up the anchors, they committed themselves unto the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoisted up the mainsail to the wind, and made toward shore. And falling into a place where 2 seas met, they ran the ship aground, and the forepart stuck fast, and remained unmovable. But the hinder part was broken with the violence of the waves. And the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them should swim out and escape. But the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept from them their purpose, and commanded that they which could swim should cast themselves first into the sea and get to land, and the rest on some boards and some on broken pieces of the ship. So it came to pass that they escaped from all safe land. So as you can see right here, this is 200 plus. This is like 200 plus people right here, right? And the ship broke down during a storm, and he had to use a bunch of people to get pieces on from the ships to get there. Now let's see how many people, not counting the women and children in the book of Jasher, chapter 81, verse 1. It was just men. Jasher chapter 81 verse 1. It says this: and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones and their wives. 600,000 men on foot, besides the little ones and their wives. So from the times of Jasher or Exodus to the times of Acts, we had became fruitful and multiplying, and became a huge nation. Because according to the book of Isaiah, by the times of Isaiah, we were already numbered as the sands of the sea. Now that's a lot of sand grains, my people. So we just established that that in my last video that it took them a year and a half just to get from Syria to Turkey, which is like right next to each other. But going from Syria all the way to past the Atlantic Ocean and America, and trying to at least get to Florida. That would have took them longer than a year, especially without a GPS or a compass. So can you imagine if all of this right here that we just explained happened? You know, the ship breaking down, and then even in the book of Josephus, we can go to there right quick. The book of Josephus, I think it's book 11, chapter 5, and section 2. Where is it at? Because it'll tell you what was the amount of the people. It says this right here: while the 10 tribes beyond the Euphrates until now are an immense multitude and not to be estimated by numbers. That means they were innumerable. So this is just 600,000 men in the times of Exodus, not even counting women and the children. So can you imagine how many ships they would have had to build? How much grief they had to go through dealing with the storms and different seasons, bro. If all this stuff happened, which was in the book of Acts, can you imagine how long it would have took for them to even get to where it's called Arsrith? You know what I'm saying? It took us 40 years without a GPS and a compass to get to Israel out of Egypt. I just want to know this, camps. You know, I'm asking you questions based off your flawed logic. I mean, this is a numerous multitude, so they couldn't have counted all those people on the ships. You know what I'm saying? And then just keep in mind, this is a storm that could have happened in the times of Second Esdras had they took ships. A storm that would have broke ships, and they would have had to take pieces of ship inland and try to get to the land, and some of them would have had to swim. Some of those people could have escaped, so they could have took all of the 10 tribes. It couldn't have took everybody from the 10 tribes. People could have escaped. I just want to know that. Just keep this in mind. This is Josephus. They say it was an immense multitude, and they never gave us a number in Esdras either. Second Esdras, which is nothing but fourth Ezra. So we already know what that's referring to. That's still in the times of Ezra. And a lot of y'all say that, well, they got the compass from King Solomon. Bro, this is 100 years after King Solomon was off the scene. And then not only that, and then if y'all say that they took the northern kingdom from America, brought them back to Israel, and in 1492 they brought them back here, and that's how they became slaves and got the land stolen. That don't even make sense. So they became slaves and got their land stolen, which they were brought to. You know, what happened between those 1500 plus years, my guys? I just want to know that. You know, and by the time we were done dealing with by the time we were here in America, 1492, that was like 2,700 years after King David and Solomon was off the scene. So how could they have gotten the compass and the directions to America from King Solomon? I want to know that. Anyways, grace and peace unto you all. Shalom.